Morning. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Susie. That was beautiful. We'll see if I need it or not, and we'll see what Spirit has to say. There's the talk you prepare, and then there's the talk that Spirit wants to share with us this morning too, right? So first of all, thank you so much for inviting and giving a warm welcome to Leslie Goodwin a couple weeks ago. Thank you so much for that. So give yourselves a round of applause there. And thank you, Leslie, for stepping in that Sunday and sharing your wonderful self. She and Sonia and Caroline are all paneling this Wednesday to become ministers. So we send them our love and aloha to them. So that is happening this coming Wednesday. So keep them in your hearts and minds and prayers as well for that divine unfoldment of their greatest expression. And I also want to thank Allison Berry, who was here last week while Ed and I were at home in Hawaii. So thank you, Allison, for the beautiful expression of love that you are and that you shared with our beloved community here. So this month we are working with the idea of... Let's try that again. I know. I didn't have Spam this morning, so I'm feeling off. Let's try it again. So this month we are working with the idea of building the beloved community. And this is the book that Allison was talking about last week. This is Creating the Beloved Community by Dr. Jim Lockhart. He's one of my teachers and mentors. I am currently now in a 9-month advanced metaphysics class with him every Saturday morning for the next 9 months. And we finish off with a retreat in Beaujolais, France. Oh, I know. So that's where I'll be next June. So bye, y'all. À tout à l'heure. Got to start learning my French. So we're working with the idea of building the beloved community. And last week, Allison so beautifully talked about developing the compassionate heart. And that is so and very important in order to be able to build the beloved community. And today we are talking about this topic here of I shall overcome. Why I? Why I? You know that says we shall overcome. You're familiar with that phrase. But why I? Because we're responsible for ourselves. We have to take 100% responsibility for ourselves and for our own lives. And once we are able to take responsibility for our own lives, then we are able to be that greater expression of who we are, right? And then as we're able to be the greater expression of who we are, it allows others to be a greater expression of who they are. And it allows our community to be a greater expression of who and what it is and what it is becoming. And as our community becomes that, then our city becomes that. And then it expands exponentially from there. In visioning, one of the things that came through early on, or not early on, but in one of the classes that we did on visioning, one of the visions for our center that has really been resonating and really been working me and working with the community itself is this idea that the vision of us, Riverside Community Center for Spiritual Living, of being an example of what it looks like when a spiritual community, let's rephrase that, when a healthy spiritual community leads a city. Breathe that in. What does that feel like to you inside? That we are an example of what it looks like when a healthy spiritual community leads a city. And as I've been doing community outreach work and getting more and more involved in like the Downtown Area Neighborhood Alliance and ICUC, the Inland Congregations United for Change, and all these other wonderful organizations that we're beginning to form alliances and partnerships with and collaborate with. What I'm hearing consistently, the message that I'm hearing consistently through all these groups is that Riverside is poised to be an example for the rest of Southern California, for the rest of the state, and for the nation. I'm hearing this consistently. It's not just something I'm saying here on a Sunday morning or that's coming through Stewart Envisioning, okay? But I'm hearing it in the larger community that the city of Riverside is poised to be a leader. And what I know is that our Center for Spiritual Living is poised to be on the leading edge to help Riverside, to assist, to collaborate with, to lead Riverside in being that leader. Wow. I thought you'd be a little bit more excited about that, but okay. And so it is. I mean, how wonderful is that, right? And so to then be able to do that, that is why we are beginning to focus on creating the beloved community. And we're creating the beloved community here, and then being able to do it in a larger atmosphere, a larger space. So I want to share with you what Dr. Jim says about the beloved community, how he defines the beloved community, and let's see how this resonates with us here. The beloved community is a collection of individuals who are learning how to love themselves, one another, and the universe. The creation of the experience of belonging and experiencing the wonders of who we are individually and collectively. It is a place where purpose and passion meet, where we practice being the person we desire to be and support others in that effort. It is where our faith in spiritual principles is realized as true compassion and service. The beloved community is a strong attractor to those who seek spiritual realization. It is not a place, it is not a place of struggle, but of continual progress toward a vision, a sense of forward motion and being involved in something vital. Yes? Yes. So that's how he defines the beloved community. And Dr. King says, our goal is to create a beloved community, and this will require a qualitative change in our souls as well as a quantitative change in our lives. And Carl Jung says, the value of a community depends on the spiritual and moral status of those individuals comprising it. So the value of the community depends on who? Right, us. The value of the community depends on us and how we choose to show up in the world and what it is that we're choosing to express and to experience and how we're choosing to walk in the world, whether we're choosing to walk our talk or just simply pay lip service, right? Because what we're called to do here is we're called to take action. We're called to engage. We're called to express. We're called to experience. We're not just called to sit back and chill. You can do that at home. But you're here. You've entered these doors. You've entered this community of love to be a greater expression of that which you already are. And that which I know you to be, and that our practitioners know you to be, and that which each of you knows each other to be. That is what we are called to be and how we are called to be together in community. And so what is the function of the beloved community? It's right there. It's our focus statement. So let's say it together. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Pretty good. How about with some velocity this time? All right, let's do it one more time. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Whew. Oh, it feels so good to hear that. It feels so good to experience that, to be in this community. I've missed you guys. Missed you. So he goes on to say that part of the function of our communities, our beloved community, is the development of a mature emotional and spiritual self. It's the development of a mature emotional and spiritual self. And it is to prepare ourselves to express our inner love and power more effectively into the world, and to assist our fellow community members in doing the same. So it's about our own self-growth, it's about our own self-empowerment, and it's also about helping our beloved community members to do the same thing. We come together to actualize more of our potential and to express our deeper sense of power and source into creation, into the world. So it's not about sitting back, it's about engaging. And so we come to community, though. One of the beautiful things is we come into community. Oftentimes we come into community with something to heal, something to move beyond, something to transcend. And then we come into this community with our imperfect actualizations of our potential. And we come in here with that imperfection, if you will. Yes, we're all whole, perfect, and complete, but go with me. On the deep spiritual level, yes, that is absolutely true. On the lived experience level, would you say that that is always true? Okay. So, we come in here with our imperfection, or our imperfected actualization of our potentiality, and then we attempt to grow spiritually with people around us who reflect back to us our imperfections. And then we get triggered, like, whoa, right? And our negativity our negative ideas or our negativity gets triggered. It's like, whoa, right? Like, wow, I didn't sign up for this. I just wanted to come in and right? Creating the beloved community is messy. People are messy, right? But we get to do this together collectively because we have said yes to a higher calling within ourselves to be a greater presence of love, a greater power of love present here on the earth. And so when we say that we embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about coming in and rubbing our rough edges off on each other in a kind, loving, and gentle way. Hopefully. Not getting on Facebook and blowing each other's Facebook pages up. No. No, we don't do that here. That is unskilled behavior, right? And that is also unwanted behavior. And if you cannot come and talk to me directly, I do not need to hear about it. And I invite you all to adopt that attitude. Because really, how are we ever going to move forward unless we are actually engaging each other in respectful communication? We need to be able to sit down and talk with each other. We don't get to hide behind our keyboard and, flame somebody's email or flame somebody's, Facebook page. Or, you can't really do it as much on Instagram, but you can. But, it's just a little bit different, right? Or Twitter. Oh, God. Okay. right? That's not who we are. That's not how we show up. That's not how we engage in spiritual community with one another. Yes, we come together and we get to have reflected back to us those areas where we need to grow, but then we choose to engage personally and professionally, kindly, thoughtfully, lovingly. Because what we need to do, or what we are called to do, is to create a safe space in which to grow and develop. Creating a safe space in spiritual community does not mean that you never get disturbed, right? It doesn't mean that I'm going to make sure that I don't say anything to offend you, or you're not going to say anything to offend each other, or that I can retreat from that. That's not what it is about. Creating a safe space in spiritual community is about having the opportunity to be our full selves and to grow and to learn and to develop, but to do so in a safe, loving environment. So, we are called then to live the golden rule for sure. Treat others the way we wish to be treated. But I've told you before, I'm pretty sure I've told you before, there's a better rule than that. And that's the platinum rule. Right? Platinum is more expensive than gold, right? So it's the platinum rule. The platinum rule states that we treat others the way they wish to be treated. And so what does that mean then? That means coming from that compassionate place that Allison was talking about last week. If we're coming from treating others the way they wish to be treated, then what that means that we have to do is we have to listen to them. We have to respect them. We have to see them for who they truly are and what it is they truly need and what it is that they are truly wanting and what it is they're truly desiring. And what we know is that we are all desiring, we are all wanting the freedom and the liberation that comes with living our highest potential. Because that's really what it's about. Living that highest potential. And living that highest potential is that place of oneness. So we come back to it, just like Allison mentioned last week. We come back to that oneness. And so living the platinum rule means that I take the time to listen and hear you and see you. And your voice matters to me. And then I treat you the way you wish to be treated, the way you feel respected, the way you feel honored. That is creating a safe space, a safe environment in which to be able to do our work. We come from a place of deep respect, of deep honoring, of deep love. So how do we get there? How do we get to that safe space? How do we begin to create that safe space? Well, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, 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 right? So, if you're showing up here on a Sunday morning, I am very grateful. We are all very grateful. But simply showing up on a Sunday morning is not going to give you the transformative experience, the transcendent experience. It's not going to give you the liberation that you're seeking. The only way to do that is to practice. So creating a safe space itself requires our own individual work, our own individual practice. That means taking the principles that you learn here on Sunday, taking the principles that you learn in our classes, taking the ideas and applying them in your daily life. It means praying daily. It means meditating daily. It means doing forgiveness daily. It means all those things. It means practicing on Tuesday as well. It means practicing on Friday, right? It means practicing Going back to spiritual practice and practicing and practicing and practicing. Practicing when you're on Facebook. Respectful communication. Practicing it. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Practicing it. Is it loving, what I'm going to say? And if it's not, I don't need to say it. So practice, 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 practice. Because the more we do our internal work, the more we practice, then the more we're able to then become and be in this community and be the presence of love, be the light for each other, and we welcome new people into this community and be able to hold the space and hold the container and hold the light for them as well. And allow them the process of healing and transforming. Because this transformational stuff, this transformative power of love, this transformational stuff, hey, it ain't easy. Nobody told you it was going to be easy. It doesn't have to be difficult, but it's not always easy. It requires work. It requires practice. So let me share with you more about what Dr. Jim says about this idea of the safe space. For us to be fully in spiritual community means spending a lot of time alone in spiritual practices and exploration. If our only spiritual activities occur when we are with the community, we will have little to give, as our personal development will be limited. Personal practice builds the spiritual muscle necessary to be a contributor to the energy of love and compassion needed for the creation of the beloved community. Safe space in spiritual community is not about eliminating discomfort. It is about providing a supportive place where we can experience the inevitable discomfort of deep personal introspection and spiritual growth with support and understanding. Safe space means that we co-create a chrysalis of support for those who are wounded as well as for those who choose to do the deep and often painful work of personal transformation. When spiritual community tries to eliminate discomfort, it becomes a place of refuge from the world rather than a point of entry, or perhaps re-entry into the world. The community's mission is effectively turned upside down. The beloved community is centered on expressing deeply embodied spiritual principles into the world around us. It is not about withdrawal or shutting ourselves away. It is never pretending or engaging in spiritual bypass. Let me say that again. It is never about pretending or engaging in spiritual bypass. Right? It is always engaging life to the most authentic manner possible. In a safe space, we are not protected from disturbance. Rather, we are disturbed in a protected place. So as I mentioned, we have to practice, right? So when we encounter these obstacles, when we encounter the challenges, how we encounter them, how we approach them is very vital to how we can transcend them. And so the best way is practice, practice, practice. And what that practicing does is it develops a spiritual poise. And by spiritual poise, what we mean is the ability to have whatever happen and to remain so spiritually balanced, so spiritually poised, that whatever comes our way doesn't throw us too far off balance. That we're solid. But becoming solid there still means being flexible, but becoming solid takes the practice. It takes that, what it then develops is it develops that equanimity, that mental, psychological, emotional balance where we're not thrown off. And if we are thrown off, because it does happen, then it doesn't take us long to come back to center. Rather than like, we get thrown off, like, oh my God, Dinah, it's so terrible. Right? It's just like, oops. Right? So what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask you, are you willing? That's good. So if you are willing, let's do some spiritual practice right here and right now. One of the greatest liberators or techniques for liberation and freedom is the work of forgiveness. And in Hawaii, we have a tradition called ho'oponopono. It's not ho'oponopono, okay? Ho'oponopono. Pono means righteousness or justice. And so ho'oponopono means to make right. And so many of you may have heard this. Dr. Joe Vitale went and studied with Dr. Lim and brought it back, and he's been a proponent of the work. And while we don't necessarily do it exactly like this, this is the adaptation for all you mainland people, okay? So ho'oponopono. So ho'oponopono is taking 100% responsibility. It's taking responsibility for where we may have erred, where we may have wronged another, or we may have erred or wronged ourselves. And so it simply starts off with, please forgive me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And so what I invite you to do is I invite you to turn within, if you're comfortable in doing so, and just allow someone to come forth in your consciousness. You don't have to go really deep and really hard to find somebody who's really, really wronged you or whom you've really, really wronged. You don't have to do that. Just place somebody in front of you. It could be yourself, it could be a beloved, it could be the person on the street. And just breathe in. And allow the words to come through. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Breathing that in. Now we're going to shift it a little bit and take it into the work of author Mae McCarthy. Mae McCarthy turns outward and looks at forgiving those who have wronged us, or whom we perceived to have wronged us. Remember that forgiveness is not about forgetting. Forgiveness is not about making whatever occurred right or absolving them of the act or acts. Forgiveness is about freeing ourselves. What happened, happened. And yet, in this room, it's not happening now. But yet, we're still carrying it with us. We're the ones perpetuating. We're the ones holding the weight. We're the ones allowing it to continue to move in our lives. So forgiveness is actually about releasing that. It is about freeing ourselves. And so allow somebody to come in front of you in your mind's eye. Again, it can be something or it can be, a lighter transgression. You don't have to work with the deep, deep stuff now. But just allow somebody to come to your consciousness. And we go with, I forgive you. I bless you. I release you. I forgive you. I bless you. I release you. I forgive you. I bless you. I release you. And if you want to add one more layer of complexity to it, take it even deeper. I forgive you. I bless you. I love you. I release you. I forgive you. I bless you. I love you. And I release you. And breathe that out. Feel the sweetness. Feel the shift in the room. This is one of the deepest, most profound practices that we can do, is the practice of forgiveness. It is this practice of forgiveness that frees ourselves to begin to live our highest potential. Because what this practice does is it empowers us. It allows us to take back the power that we've given out to somebody else, or that we've assigned outside of ourselves. It allows us to call that back to ourselves. It allows us and empowers us to be a greater presence and power of love. You see, I can stand here on a Sunday morning, and you can come and sit on a Sunday morning, and I can describe to you what the ocean looks like. I can describe to you that the ocean has got waves, and this water, it crashes and it meets the shore and it caresses the shore. It goes up the shore, and then it recedes and it makes this rippling sound on all the little rocks as it goes in, and it kind of goes underneath the next wave that comes. And I can talk about it, and I can talk about it, and I can try to describe it. And you can listen, and you can hear it, and you might be able to imagine it. But until you actually go to the ocean and experience it yourself, you'll never know the ocean. You'll never know what it's like to be in the presence and the power of the water caressing the shore, of the waves moving and forming and crashing. And again and again and again. You'll never know it until you experience it. And the only way you can experience it is by saying, you know what? Yeah, let's go to the beach today. And so that's what doing your practice is. I can tell you about freedom. I can tell you about liberation. I can tell you what it feels like to have forgiven and to have been forgiven. I can tell you all about that. I can tell you what it feels like to live in a beloved community. But until you are willing to experience it yourself, until you are willing to do the work, to do the practice, to go to the ocean, basically, until you're willing to do that, it doesn't happen. You'll never know what it feels like to have the liberation and the freedom and the love that is possible. You won't know what it is to live your highest potential until you're willing to do what you need to do, the practice, in order to have it. I'm like, you'll never know, right? How many of you have been to the beach? Right? So you know what the ocean's like. You've experienced it. How would it be to experience that same freedom, that same love, that same joy? How would that be? Amazing, right? And that's what we're called to do. So the I shall overcome is about letting go of our fears, letting go of our limitations, letting go of our conditions, letting go of our false beliefs, letting go of our separation, letting go of all of those ideas, and standing in our oneness, standing in our wholeness. And so let's do this together. I have the power to overcome my fear. I have the power to overcome any obstacles. I have the power to overcome conditions. I have the power to overcome false beliefs. I have the power to overcome my sense of separation. And I have the power to overcome my unskilled behavior. Yes. And I have the power to practice. Because the beloved community emerges as us. The beloved community is only as healthy as each one of us is. The beloved community calls us to do our work, to calls our community to do its work, and calls our city to do its work, so that we may be the light and the leader that we are called to be. And so it is. Practitioners and our core council to please stand and surround the room. Sure. So these beloveds are in service to this community every single day, holding this community in prayer, holding this community in light, holding this community in love, lifting each one of you. If you have sent in a prayer request, either online to the Ministry of Prayer at riversidecsl.org, you can email it to us. There's also a prayer request. Know that this group is continuing to hold you in prayer. So let's come together in consciousness, shall we? So I invite you to turn within. And I recognize that right here, right now, there's only one power, one presence, one infinite eternal beingness. This is what I call love, this is what I call joy. It goes by many names. It does not matter what name we choose to give it, it simply is the isness, the allness, the fullness of life itself. And so I recognize that I am one with it, that the who of who I am is it made manifest. I am the divine emanation and impartation of this one life, this one love, this one community, coming together within myself as the power and presence of love. And as I recognize this is true of me, I recognize that this is true of everyone. I recognize this is true of our beloved community, of Riverside Community Center for Spiritual Living, and our wonderful city, the city of Riverside. That truly who we are is already the beloved community, that we are the beloved in whom the one is well pleased. We stand in our power, we stand in the presence, we stand as love. We stand as joy and peace and harmony and wisdom. That this is who we are. We are one with it. We are inseparable from it. And so I speak my word here and now for our beloved Riverside community, knowing that each one who has been called here this morning is that presence of love. Each one is willing to do his or her or their own work to clear that which has been put in front of them. To simply allow it to fall back into the nothingness from which it came. Recognizing their own magnificence, their spiritual and divine magnificence. For truly each one is the beloved. And together we create the beloved community. And we shine our light for each other, and we shine our light out into the world, out beyond these four walls, out beyond our city. That right where we are, the power and the presence of love and light is, and it shines through us. And we attract to ourselves others who are willing to do the work to be that presence. And we attract to us those who are wishing to be nurtured and supported in their transformational journey of empowerment, recognizing and realizing their highest potential through this container of transformative love that we have created. And so I simply give thanks for that which has already unfolded and that which continues to unfold in each of our lives, knowing that it is all perfect, it is all in divine right order, divine right action. We simply say yes to it, and I release this word into the law, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is so. I let it be, and together we say, and so it is.